Welcome to June. After May was a bumper month, we are a bit thinner on the ground in terms of releases, but there are still a fair few indie games that are worth checking out. First up, we have Galactic Glitch, a twin-stick roguelike shooter. What looks to set this game apart from its peers is the inclusion of physics-based mechanics. As well as being able to blast enemies, you'll be able to use a grav gun to grab rocks and mines and fling them back at your enemy. Set within small arenas, you can even use the walls to slingshot projectiles into enemies. With a colourful neon art style and the ability to create your own builds, it looks and sounds like an interesting addition to the genre. Galactic Glitch comes to PC sometime this June. Our second game this month is Gravegunner, a fast-paced arena shooter that takes inspiration from Devil Daggers. Much like that game, the goal is to survive against ever-increasing waves of enemies, relying only on your quick reflexes and sharp aim. I've played a bit of this game already and found it to be good fun, with difficulty ramping up nicely and soon becoming rather fiendish. Gravegunner comes to PC June 3rd. Next, we have Field of Glory Kingdoms, the next in the line of Field of Glory grand strategy games. Set in 1054 just after the Great Schism, the game encompasses more than 2 centuries of European, African and Middle Eastern history. Field of Glory Kingdoms looks to blend bits of the Crusader Kings and Europa Universalis series of games, allowing you to create dynasties and also immerse yourself in the more nitty-gritty of running your kingdom. Field of Glory Kingdoms arrives on PC June 4th. Kristalla is a third-person action game with some Souls-like elements, where you play as a feral warrior blessed with the gift of Kristalla. You must master the 6 magical specialities as you explore the world of Elur, as you hope to uncover the source of a terrible curse that has turned the inhabitants of the world into monsters. Unlike a lot of Souls-likes, Kristalla looks to be putting an emphasis on magic, allowing the player to regain mana by attacking enemies, which solves one of the issues that these types of games tend to have when it comes to magic. Alongside the magical bent, there is an element of stealth and traversal to the game, which means combat could feel quite different to what you usually get from a Souls-like. Ultimately though, it will come down to how combat feels. Get that wrong, and it won't matter how many tweaks to the genre that the game adds. Kristalla darts into Steam Early Access June 6th. Up next is pixel art hack and slash roguelike Dragon is Dead. You might think I've had my fill of these types of games, but turns out I can't really get enough of them. There is something about the mix of gorgeous pixel art and combat that draws me in every time. In terms of differentiators, this title looks to lean on a variety of builds fleshed out by skill trees and legendary equipment. Outside of that, it's your usual fare, with beautiful art and exciting combat. You will very much know whether this is something that appeals to you straight away. Dragon is Dead slashes its way into Steam Early Access June 7th. Ever fancied fighting off a vampire apocalypse whilst trying to survive the horrors of freshman field hockey practice? Well, in #Blood, you can. #Blood is a dungeon crawler that features art that wouldn't look out of place on Nickelodeon during the 90s. You play as Becky Brewster, a newcomer to town who just happens to be the latest in a long line of spell-casting vampire hunters, which works out well considering the horrors that dwell in this particular town. Armed with a hockey stick, Becky sets out to fight back against the demonic invasion, making new friends along the way who will be able to help her out and uncover a variety of secrets. This title seems like a classic example of a game that will be fun to play and fun to look at. It's not looking to reinvent the wheel, just provide an enjoyable experience. #Blood splatters onto PC June 18th.
When the sun goes down, evil rises up in search of one thing. Blood. #Blood. Wishlist now.
Still Wakes the Deep is a narrative horror game set on the oil rig Beria D off the coast of Scotland. As settings go, it is certainly a unique one. Developer Chinese Room, makers of games such as Everyone's Gone to the Rapture and Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs, have a fair amount of pedigree when it comes to telling a good story, and an oil rig sounds like it's the perfect place to set a horror game. You must battle the elements as well as the otherworldly horror that's attacking the rig, using only your wits, searching for both the crew and a way off the rig. The setting, coupled with the narrative chops of the Chinese Room, sounds like a perfect match to me, so here's hoping Still Wakes the Deep manages to stick the landing. Still Wakes the Deep drills its way onto PC, PlayStation 5 and the Xbox series of consoles, June 18th.
I love you, but I won't wait forever.
Next up, we have something a little friendlier in puzzle game Arik and the Ruined Kingdom. Each puzzle is contained within one small world, reminding me a bit of Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. Using the crown your father left you, you can manipulate the world, shift the perspective, and even turn back time to help you solve the various puzzles. Coupled with the colourful art style, this title gives off a soothing vibe, and as someone who is very much into relaxing puzzle games, Arik and the Ruined Kingdom looks right up my street. Arik and the Ruined Kingdom puzzles onto Nintendo Switch, PC and Android and iOS, June 20th. Our penultimate game for June is Aska. 2024 has felt like the year of the survival crafting game, with many new entrants to the genre, big hitters leaving early access, and some adding big new content drops. Aska makes its pitch by aping the setting of Valheim, but going for a more modern graphical style. The mechanic that will perhaps help this game stand out is that not only are you building a settlement, but you also have to populate it with NPCs who have their own needs that must be met. It sounds a bit like a cross between Valheim and Banished, which is certainly an interesting pitch. Survival crafting games have to add something new if they're going to stand out from the crowd. Will the management mechanics allow Aska to do that? Find out when Aska launches into Steam Early Access, June 20th. Finally for this month we have Megacopter Blades of the Goddess, which also happens to be my pick of the month. If you're as old as me, you might remember a series of games made by EA for the 16-bit consoles that started with Desert Strike. They were shoot 'em ups where you took control of a copter flying on an isometric plane, and I loved them. Megacopter Blades of the Goddess looks to bring that back with a similar art style and perspective, and the developers stating that they have taken inspiration from the Strike series of games. Featuring a variety of missions from seek and destroy to rescue and boss hunt, a wide variety of weaponry and the ability to upgrade your megacopter, it looks to be ticking all the boxes. Personally, I can't wait to let the nostalgia flow. Megacopter Blades of the Goddess whirls onto PC June 21st. That wraps up June. A fairly diverse collection of games this month. Let me know in the comments below your favourite and if you think I've missed anything. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, as it really helps me out and I very much appreciate anyone who takes the time to do so. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.